Hey y'all. So this video is for the version of me that thought that she was just not going to make it.
Alien superstar. Whip. I'm too classy for this world. Forever I'm that girl. Feed you diamonds and pearl. Oh baby, I'm too classy to be.
So when I first moved here from Arkansas, I I didn't realize that I was going to become as depressed as I had become. I literally was, if I wasn't at work, I was on the couch and I would go from the couch to the bed, from the bed back to the couch, from the couch to the kitchen back to the couch, just watching TV. I would have my little bouts of tears. And I did that for months. I did that for months. I only went to the grocery store or to get to go plates. If I did go to a restaurant, it was to get it to go and back to the house. I thought that once I got here that and I, regained everything that I lost in Arkansas that I would be okay. All the way down to the husband, honey. As sad as that's sad. Not everything else but the husband part. But I thought that once I got the house, once I got the car, once I got the stable income, once I, got the man, once I was able to get my kids here, that everything would be peaches and cream. And that did not. I mean, of course I got the place and I got the stable income, the car, two cars as a matter of fact, but and I don't still have two cars, but that's another story for another day. We're not going to talk about that right now. We're talking about how I overcame depression. And this video is not medical advice. This video is really not advice. This is just me, like I said, for the version of me that thought I wasn't going to make it. And probably for the hating ass bitches in the back that thought I wasn't going to make it too. This could help. This could help them. That's just how, I'm that. I even help my haters. That was so childish. I need to grow up. Anywho, like I said, so when I first got here, no family, no friends. I ended up regaining everything that I had lost when I left Arkansas, except for the husband and my kids. That's another story for another day. And I still was sad AF. I still was unfulfilled inside. I still, you know, I thought that once I got that stable income, mainly, I thought that, like we all do, we all think money will fix everything. And it got so bad to the point where I was working every single day. If I wasn't working, I would be at home doing my little couch bed routine. And I didn't want to do that. So whenever they would ask me to come to work, which was every day, for the most part, I would go. And the money was good. But when you are not okay on the inside, you can attract money all day, but it's not going to stay with you. And that's what it was. I was attracting good money, but it wasn't. I was spending on food pretty much. What else was I spending on? I don't know. And that's the thing. That was the problem. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I had to furnish the house and all of that. So, that stuff, but I can't sit up here and tell you that I have a savings account that's stacked because that's not the case. Whenever your internal is jacked, you're out as within, so without. So within was jacked, so I was jacked on the out, if that makes sense. Anywho, so once I realized that, because I ain't gonna lie, I was functioning depressed. I didn't realize that I was depressed at first. I was still going to work. I was still maintaining my lifestyle. I was gaining hella weight though. That I had to go buy bigger scrub pants. But once I realized that I was depressed, and once I realized that I really just wasn't happy, I wasn't fulfilled, I had to get out of that. I ain't gonna lie, the bigger scrub pants, that's when I had to draw the line. I had to draw a line. I said, don't you cross over this. I had to tell myself, that's what. These videos will be in a playlist called The Spiritual Battlefield. And this is not a spiritual battle like, two witches throwing spells back and forth at each other, or, a witch and a warlock being Mr. and Mrs. Smith of the spiritual realm, which is so stupid. Anywho, that's not the type of, because that can be a spiritual battle too, but that's not what I'm talking about. This spiritual battle is me versus my mind, me versus my lower self, me versus the low vibrational habits, thoughts, things, and people that were keeping me from moving forward in life. Is my mic on? Yeah. That's the spiritual battlefield that I'm talking about. So we have already done dealing with ageism. We've already done battling loneliness. And so this one is battling depression. And we'll just go on and on. And the videos will be in a playlist called The Spiritual Battlefield. If you want to go back and see the other ones, if you're just catching this one. My name is Brooke Ebony, by the way. And I'm an angel on a spiritual battlefield. And I am handing out swords with these videos. Not really, but really, Anywho, so yeah, I had to draw a line in the sand, and I had to tell myself, don't you go over. Once I had to go up a size in scrub pants, that's when I realized, like, okay, like you really just came out here and you're really, you gained back what you lost from Arkansas, but you're not progressing. You're actually starting to get worse a little bit. You're gaining weight. You're sad AF every day. You don't go nowhere. You don't do anything. You're in a whole new city and state. You should be outside exploring. Like, I had to have that talk with myself. I had to have that talk with myself, and I had to take myself back to a time when I was actually happy, when I actually felt fulfilled, and remember, what was it that I was doing? Like, what were the things that I was doing that was making me happy, that made me fulfilled? And I had to go all the way back to childhood. Don't get me wrong, I had my times in adulthood where I felt happy and fulfilled, but I'm talking about pure happiness, that pure happiness when you're just not, it's just no care in the world, that borderline obsession type happiness. You know how kids are. And so I just remember when I learned how to crochet, when my grandmother taught me how to crochet when I was a child, I was so happy when I would make stuff. Just the achievement of making something with my hands made me so happy. So I went and bought some yarn and a crochet hook, and I started crocheting stuff. And that just opened the floodgates for me. Like I said, this video is not medical advice. If you need therapy, go get therapy. If you need to talk to a pastor or a priest, go do that. I don't discriminate over here. This is a no judgment zone. I believe in the Most High Jesus Christ, but I'm not a Christian. I'm not that religious type of person. But, whatever you need to do whatever it is that you need to do to get to your highest timeline and your happiness, do that. As long as it's not causing harm to yourself or others. As long as you're not out here harming people or yourself. But I mean, I'd rather, if you harming yourself, don't be out here harming other people. But anywho, so yeah, getting yarn and a crochet hook just like opened up the floodgates for me. And don't get me wrong. It didn't just make me, it didn't just cure a clinical thing. I started to, since I figured that I had to go back to childhood and start and pick up a childhood hobby, that's what started the shadow work. And the shadow work started the self-reflection. And then that's when I started to realize, okay, like, I'm lonely, but I was very weary and paranoid of other humans. And so I started having to come over that. And I'm still working on it. I'm doing better, but that's another video for another day. I do have people that I can call if need be, though, so I'm not just completely alone, but I prefer, I prefer it. I'm happy with the way things are, to be honest. Like, if I need them, I can call them, and I think that's good. But the main thing is, I put myself on a mission. to get to my highest timeline, to get myself back to where I feel the happiest. I know I'm the happiest when I'm fit, when I'm healthy. So I started working on that. I started trying to figure out my purpose. I'm still working on that, but I know that I like to do content. I like to record. I like to, edit. So I started doing more of that. I started to do the things that brought me pure pleasure and happiness, not actual pleasure either, because that's another video for another day too. But I stopped working so much because I started to feel like a slave, just working every day. And all that was, I was just doing it just to distract myself, pretty much, just to distract myself from my issues. And like I said, you can make a lot of money, you can attract a lot of money, but if you're not good on the inside, that money's not going to stay with you anyway. Um, I put myself on a mission that had an actual purpose, which was to get to my highest timeline. I know a lot of people always ask themselves, like, why am I here? What am I here for? Whether they're asking it in a positive way or a pessimistic way, they get mad about things or things are not going their way. And it's like, why was I even born? And I always just think of that song by Nicki Minaj. And I know, all the stuff that's going on with her. And don't get me wrong, I stay away from pop culture too. But of course, it's the internet and, that's part of my community. We hear about it, we see it. But I don't immerse myself in it. I don't absorb it anymore. I don't even listen to trap music. A lot of the R&B songs and stuff I don't listen to. I actually feel like my whole childhood was a lie with all of these things that are coming out. But anywho, I try to stay away from that stuff. Anything that is not of my highest good, that does not bring me happiness, that does not make me feel, that does not get me to my higher self, I don't entertain. But I do see it. So I see what's going on with her. But shout out to
D.L. Hughley.
Remember, he said, we still sing the national anthem knowing what America did. So, some of them songs still hit. And especially the one where, everybody be like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? And Nicki said it best. I came here to win, to prosper, to thrive, to fly. I came to win, to thrive, to prosper, to fly. If I can't think of nothing else, that's all sometimes I feel like I got my purpose figured out and I'm good. And then sometimes I'm confused again. And on those days where I feel like I'm confused, that's what I tell myself. I came here to win. I came here to prosper. I came here to thrive. I came here to fly, period. I'm flying to my highest timeline. That's what my purpose is. And that is how I was able to come out of that depressive state that I was in. But remember, like I said, this is not medical advice. This is not even really just actual advice. It's just what I did to come out of, the state that I was in. And I do hope that the video helps somebody. So make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, comment down below. We can talk about it. Like I said, I'm not a guru, mentor, any of that. So if y'all want to talk about it, we definitely, if you need somebody to talk to, comment down below. We can talk. I don't mind. I don't think that I'm too good to comment back. As a matter of fact, I like to dialogue. I prefer over the internet than in person. And I'm working on that. Anyways, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.